IVM.
This is Storytellers and Storysellers live on tape with Vineet Kanabar on the IVM Podcast Network. Today, we're talking to someone who's an expert at writing love songs. As we found out in the past couple of weeks with the release of her smash hit, Sang Rahiyo. Please welcome to the show with a lot of excitement, Jasleen Royal. Hi, Jasleen.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for making the time. I know we've been trying to figure out how to do this, but I'm so glad that we've managed to do this. I know it's a little late at night that we're recording this, but we'll keep it going with energy.
Yeah.
Tell us about Sang Rahiyo before we get into like other more complex things. What a song! I've been humming it for days now. My office head, who looks like a heavy metal guy, just tagged me on Facebook the other day, and he's like, for the first time, I'm humming a song that has like a brand in it as well, and I'm just loving it. So everybody's loving it. It's climbing the charts. It has an insane like-dislike ratio. Tell us about it. Tell us about how it came about.
First of all, it's very refreshing or strange for me to hear that I write love songs because like I remember when I was getting into music during college, and I met Loy Mendonca. And he's like, so what do you write about? So I said, I write about anything but love songs. So then he started laughing. He said, like, then do you write about politics or war? So I said, like, what do you mean? Because he's like, you can only write about two things. So I was like, I don't believe in that. But here I am writing love songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Started off with a lot of other songs. Like my first song was Panchi.
Right.
And it was all about like, freedom and like freedom of thought, speech, dreams. Anyway, I'm digressing. It just reminded me of the conversation.
No, it's a podcast. We have all the time in the world.
So yeah, I on Sang Rahiyo, I'm really happy that it's doing so well. It's like my first love song. Like I did not think about anything else in this one. Otherwise, I've thought of there are other songs of mine like Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, Jahan Tu Chala. Those songs are more about companionship,
Right.
Which is important anyway in a love story also. But
Absolutely.
This one's out and out love song. So yeah, that's a first for me, and I'm really happy. Like people are responding so well to the song, and like you said, the like and dislike ratio is amazing. So I don't know right now. Like I've just released it, and like songs take its time to travel. So Let's see where it goes. And abhi tak to it's going nice.
It's going very, very well. Nice is underplaying it. Let me ask you this, right? Like you said, songs take their own time to travel, but songs are also what you go back to the most, right? It's among the kind of media, it's the most consumed per item, so to speak, right? You never go and listen to the same joke like the third time. Second time it may be fine, third time, I mean, with that objective in mind or with that sort of behavior in mind, it's an amazing feeling, right? When you have so many people turning to you and what did you do? You made a song that speaks to so many people. There's such a lovely video to it, and you just dropped it, right? There's no paid promotion. There is no massive song premiere. It's just honest, good music put out with a really lovely, well-composed video. What I want to get at, Jasleen, is tell us about how you came up with this. You talked about it being your first love song. What was the impetus, and then how did you kind of realize it, right? I think that's the journey that I'd really love to know a little bit about.
See, like obviously there's some marketing going on behind it. But how I conceived this and how I planned to go with an independent release instead of going with a music label or a film, I don't know. I had composed this song. Obviously, like I love the lyrics and the melody of it, and it's a very personal song on some level. Obviously, not on some level, but it's a personal song, and I love what it talks about, like growing in love, growing as a person when you are with the right person. And it also talks about like being your most stupid self in front of the person you love. That's how you become more of yourself, and you become actually stronger together, and you grow more in life. It's like ironical, like being stupid makes you grow in life, but
Absolutely.
like you are,
I'm a firm believer.
you are your uninhibited self.
Yeah.
So that's what I talk about in the song, and it's about like moving together hand in hand, no matter what happens. So that's the message I'm giving through the song, which is beautifully written by Neeraj Rajawat, and the lyrics like really resonated with me. So that's why I really wanted to put it out, and I think lockdown में बहुत सारे लोगों के साथ ऐसा हुआ है. They have contemplated like where is their career is going, what do they want to do. Like I've met like 10 people and they've told me, yeah, we are working and now we want to do something on our own.
Right.
You know, you got that break to reflect on your options. And so many people, they've left their jobs or like the services they were doing, and they started off with their own journey. So I think that's something similar happened with me also. Like I was doing a lot of films and all of that, and during the lockdown I got the time to think, and I thought like, why not do an independent song? Like, why do I need to wait for a film or a label to pick it up?
Right.
I had the option, to be honest, to go with a film or a label, but I don't know, like sometimes you feel like collaborating with other people on certain projects, and sometimes you feel you want to like, you know,
go so do it yourself, DIY.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with this project.
No, I love it. I mean, always been a big fan of the indie ethic, and I think it makes a lot of sense. The reception you get and the organic growth that you get as an artist. And again, we've done this sort of indie way of doing things with a bunch of artists ourselves. It's always my favorite sort of way of doing things as well. It really brings an authenticity through that I think fans love, right? I mean, you could write a love song and just, you know, give it 80 million airplays and people will love it differently. They love it. Of course they love it, but they love it differently. And there's a joy to discovery. There's a joy to your loved one sending you a song that you didn't hear, and then you're like, hey, I love it so much. So beautiful to hear your conviction with the indie method and the inspiration behind why you put the song out. Let me ask you this. You talked about collaboration, and you collaborated with two people who've been on this podcast before. So I collaborated with them before you did. I'm joking. But both Ranveer and Mr. Tarun Tripathi.
Achha, he's also been on this podcast.
Wow. Tarun was guest number 1.
Wow.
Yeah, Tarun and Saurabh Khanna, the guy who wrote Ye Meri Family. Incidentally, if you haven't heard that episode, please go and check it out. No, that was for my fans. You have better things to do. No, I'm joking. But please, Jasleen, check it out. But yeah, how was it, man? Working with Ranveer and with Tarun sir. Ranveer first, but.
Ranveer, it just happened like there was no plan to it, like no plan to casting him or anything. And I came across a couple of his videos and I was like, interesting guy and something like that. And we were looking for a boy for the video, and I just messaged him on Instagram, or like I got his number, and I messaged him, would you like to star in one of my songs? And he's like, he said like, yeah, I love your songs and whatever. But he asked me like, why do you think I'll do justice to the song? Like, I mean, like, I don't act and all. So I said like, it's just a gut feeling. And he said, okay, then my gut also says that I should do it. And that's how it happened. And like, it was that organic and random.
and what a masterstroke! But even if it was that organic and random, what a masterstroke, right? Sorry,
I don't know. It just like we just bonded. We just like genuinely are fond of each other, and we love to talk about life and the meaning of life and where your career is headed and what you want to do. And he has a lot of insights about a lot of things. And I'm a very curious person anyway, so I like conversations basically, and he seems to be the right person to be having conversations with. So that's what really worked for us, and that's how he came on board. And when I got COVID, because of COVID, the song got pushed a little bit, and that is the time we got utilized to cultivate this friendship. So I think that reflected on screen also.
Most definitely.
Yeah, it kind of worked, and that's how Ranveer's this thing happened. And also I was actually inspired by how he's doing what he's doing with his YouTube channel.
Right.
And since I was doing an independent release, it just made sense in my mind to be working with someone who's so passionate about building his own intellectual property the way he's doing it, and he's adding value to so many people's lives, and it just felt right.
I call him a creatorpreneur. He's as much an entrepreneur as he's a creator. Obviously, his creation, his creativity, and comes first. But I love the way that he's one of those guys who's kept his old base, yet still got new people into the kind of things that him and Monk are doing. And I loved him in the video, man. He was so good. I mean, obviously, we work together. Full disclosure, one of my clients is a brand partner in the video. Go check it out. Cadbury Dairy Milk Silk. Hi, Neha Saad. But I mean, I texted him first time when we saw like the final cuts. Mm-hmm. He was so natural, man. I was like, bro, I think you have opened up a new dimension for your career.
True.
It was beautiful, man, and inspired casting. Obviously, the chemistry, the moments felt natural, even though some of them were, and for people who haven't seen the video, please go and watch the video. It's got some really nice, unique and fresh metaphors for distance and for love and longing. But it does have a healthy dose of the familiar as well, right? There is that wo khelna, koodna, puchkarna, all of that is also there, but it's done in such a fresh manner, and I think a lot of that is down to the chemistry that you and Ranveer shared on screen. How about Tarun, sir? How is working with him? Have you worked with him before?
Oh, Tarun, I've known for a long time now, and as a friend first, and I've known him since a couple of years. But this is the first time we've collaborated on something. We've just met for like at his house, at his dinner parties, and like Monopoly, and like just laughed all night and just gone back and all of that, and just suddenly I met him for some work, and during the lockdown I just sent him this song Sang Rahiyo, and I said like, let's do something, and he's like, okay, let me try, and that's how this whole collaboration happened with you guys and everyone. So I think it's just this lockdown thing that all of it came together. But otherwise also it would have come together, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
No, I think it came together through a lot of heavy lifting done by a lot of very, very cool people. Tanya, the director, as well, right? But enough about Sang Rahiyo, actually. Let us talk more about Jasleen. Jasleen, I want to ask you this, and I've always wanted to ask you this ever since I kind of first found out who Jasleen was. Your Wikipedia says you can play the guitar, the mouth organ, the flute, and a tambourine while singing. You can also play the keyboard, which also happens to be the first instrument you ever played. But what's your favorite instrument to play? Like when you have no pressure of performance, you just want to unwind, maybe just what is it that you play?
I think I would play the guitar. I would just like strum it or just like pluck it.
Yeah, is that sort of where inspiration for melody also kind of comes, or is it a different process like that?
No, the inspiration can come wherever. Like sometimes it just comes like while you're walking and you like just take your phone out and just start recording whatever is playing in your head.
Right.
So sometimes it happens like that, but mostly obviously it happens in the studio when you like sit down to work. And a lot of times I'm just jamming on the piano, and a lot of times I'm just jamming on the guitar.
Right.
So I usually work on these two instruments to come up with a melody or a song.
And what's your favorite instrument to perform?
I don't have a favorite. I would love to perform.
What is the instrument that you think you're best at?
I don't know. When I like to think it from the song's point of view. Whatever song I'm performing and what that song requires. And but I loved. Recently I jammed on Lag Ja Gade with a friend of mine, Radhika Madan. She's an actor, and she was playing the keyboard, and I was playing the accordion, and I had a lot of fun discovering a new instrument. I had a lot of fun, discovering a new instrument and performing this old classic, which is timeless. So, मेरे को उसमें बड़े मजे आए. So, I love exploring like discovering new sounds and new instruments. But my comfort would be like a keyboard or a guitar.
Lovely, lovely. Have you, I mean, you talked about the accordion. Are there any other new instruments that you're trying out or that you've tried on?
No, this is the most recent one. But वैसे वो ukulele, guitar ले तो होता ही है, but that's like the basic. If you know the guitar, then you can play that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about like weird instruments like maybe the theremin or like the onde martinu or something like that? Have you ever tried any of those?
No, yeah. Basically, I like to pick up instruments which will help me make melodies.
Right.
Inherently, like I'm really, really, really drawn towards melodies. Like, yeah.
And that comes through. It does. Let me ask you this. Since you've been singing for what I'm sure is almost all of your life, right? I mean, given the prodigious talent that you are, how has your approach changed maybe over the years, right? Is there a sort of creative process? Is there a singing style or influence? Can you take us on a journey saying, okay, let's do it this way, right? Can you tell me maybe those 3 or 4 songs which you thought were level up for yourself as an artist? Maybe that's a different, better way of asking that question.
Yeah, I can't think of it like that, but over the years, like meeting more people, working with so many other minds like Amit Trivedi, Sachin Jigar, Swanand Kirkire, like some of the people I've collaborated with, some like reading Rahman's book, like seeing all these people, how they work, you get validated in a way that, because there's no process to making music.
Right.
So when I was working on Hitchki with Yash Raj, so I saw people were very comfortable saying that they could not crack the song. Earlier, I would have a really tough time if someone called me and I was on a deadline and they asked me like, song hua kya? Kitna ban gaya? And I would try to dodge the call. I would not pick up, and I would get like under a lot of stress. And I would reply saying ki kar to rahi hu, matlab like. But then I started accepting the fact that it's a creative process, though there's no like process to it. Like it'll come if you sit at it, but it might not come. So just acknowledge it. It's okay. It's okay to not have cracked a song in that period. So I would like really be hard on myself. And I learned that from my journey on Hitchki. And like while I was reading A.R. Rahman's book, so he said like he doesn't follow any structure to a song. Like he can give an interlude wherever. He doesn't follow like verse, chorus. Yeah. And which I have done in a couple of my songs, like from Gully Boy, Jaha Tu Chala, and Maini. So there's no like standard structure. So I felt okay. I felt like, okay, so it's okay to be, following your own way of doing things. And because I look up to these people, so you kind of get validated for the stuff you're doing. And I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know if I'm answering your question right.
No, you are. There's no right or wrong answer. Loving this.
But that's what I'm saying. Like with every project or with every new encounter with someone else who I look up to, I found something new, and I found peace with not knowing much. That's a really big thing for me, because I'm a self-taught musician, right. And I've learned everything on my own. Like I've picked it up on the way. So even my singing or whatever it is, I am not a trained singer. I just sing because I love playing the guitar. That's how I discovered my love for singing. So, and I come from a small town, Ludhiana, and you don't have music schools there, or, there's not much exposure. So whatever I've learned is like, I see sun ke, apne liye ga ke. So that's what I've learned. Like there's no one way to do things, and it's okay not to know everything. And as long as I feel the song I've created is making me feel something when I hear it, I think I've done a good job.
I think that's a solid set of learnings and principles. Absolutely solid. There's a couple of thoughts that came into my head while you were saying this, but I didn't stop you because you really seem to have latched onto a sort of rich vein of wisdom there. But let me ask you this: what happened after that phone call, right? When you couldn't crack a song, what happened after that?
So my director called me to to his office. Manish Sharma, I'm talking about.
Of course.
And he called me and he's like, why do you not pick up the phone? Why do you disappear? And I said, but I don't have a song. I don't have a melody. He's like, it's okay. Like, just say that you don't have it. But then I asked him, like, is it okay to say that? Like, won't I look like really unprofessional and not so talented or whatever? He said, no. I didn't know that. It's really dumb of me, but sometimes you are really hard on yourself.
No, absolutely. I think, and it's a very important part of that learning also, right? Because you set standards for yourself and then you beat yourself up because you're not able to hit that standard. But the problem isn't you're not able to hit that standard. The problem is it takes time to get to that standard every single time. It isn't equal in every moment, right? And I mean, and I love Manish. He's a passionate Monopoly deal player as well. So, I love it. I think it's such a nice, important learning. It feels so simple when you say it, but it's such an important little bit of learning there. Let me ask you this last bit about what sort of creative process that you follow, right? I think as you grow as an artist or as you grow as a performer, there are things you really like about your own act. There are things you maybe want to improve, and that's where the role of feedback really comes in, right? You tend to have a trusted circle of people who you get feedback from, and then that circle grows, etc. How does that work in your case, right? Where does feedback figure in? Do you create something that you're entirely happy with and then show it to others, or you're like, abhi aisa hai, thinking, collaborating? Just want to know how you take that.
Usually, I think you should be clear who are you catering to sometimes. Right. Like when you made a song, I think you know like who's going to like this song, like what set of audience is going to like that song. So it's really hard to please everyone. That's what I know. And if you know that, then it's okay. I mean, like, that's what I said. Like if I have worked on a song and I am happy with it, and then my job is done, you know. But as an artist, I'm always like trying to experiment with my sound, with the singles I choose. So I keep doing that because I'm really hungry to experiment and to put out like different kind of music out there. Like Din Shagdada is very different from Nach Dene Sare, Kho Gayam Kaha, and now Sang Rahiyo. So sometimes you might get flack, like people telling you that it's not as good as that, or or this one is the best, or this one is the most popular. So everyone has their own lens of viewing or listening to your songs. So that's what I'm saying. Like you know what you are doing, and if you are satisfied with the song you have put out, then it's fine. Then it's up to the audience which one they love the most, or which one becomes the most popular. And also like I said, like in my case, I've seen songs I've picked up after 3 years. Right. I've put them out, and after 3 years, suddenly it's become a rage. After 2-3 years, like a song of mine is discovered by a lot of people. So you never know. That's what I'm saying. Like
a slipper hitter.
Guess all of that. It's just putting things what inspires you.
No, I get that. I mean, I get the audience response aspect of it. What I want to get at is sometimes maybe you're not sure. Possibly. Does that happen to you? I mean, it happens to me. Although I'm very sure a lot of times there are times when I'm just like not sure when kya karu batao. Does that happen to you when you're sort of coming up with a song and you're just like, Mummy?
Abhi tak to nahi hua. Aisa to nahi hua abhi tak, because
that's why you are gifted.
I don't think so abhi tak hua hai. Abhi tak aisa to nahi hua hai.
And like I said, that's why you're gifted. Let me ask you this, right? There are clear sort of benefits of being an artist in the digital age, right? Especially a music artist in the digital age. I remember 2004, 2005 was when the first sort of MySpace band happened, right? Arctic Monkeys, everybody's like, oh wow, what a band. And since then, that trajectory has given us so many great, talented, indie, alternative musicians, right? You have the Pratik all the way to Obama's Playlist, or Peter Cat, or a bunch of the guys in the Bollywood Hindi space with Local Train, Chai Metros, all of these guys as well, right? With that also comes obviously a lot of a lot of attention. Instagram is such an important aspect of it, right? To me, there is a certain, how do you say, balance that you see. I mean, as a fan, right? Whether, especially from an indie artist or an alternative artist, right? How do you look at that? How do you look at your Instagram fans, or the Instagram generation of people that you want to be part of your audience, right? How do you sort of deal with that? How do you work with that? Is there a strategy in place, or you're just like, hey, I'm going to play it by ear? I'm really like indie authentic, and that's what I'm going to do.
See, earlier I used to feel very forced into, being active on social media. Like everyone keeps telling you, you need to post, you need to post, you need to post, you need to be active. And I used to be like, I'm not sure, and also not like a very extroverted person. Like, I don't like to I just don't like to keep clicking myself, and so I used to find it really hard. But now I actually feel like connecting with the people I have on Instagram. I would like to grow my social media accounts and build a fan base for myself, because in the future I feel like I want to put out more independent stuff. And if I want to go that way, then I want to reach out to as many listeners as I can in the most organic way.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So I find that really helpful and organic way of reaching out to people.
No, that's very interesting, because it sort of resonates with how you want to, with how you're positioned as an artist, with how you are as an artist as well. I think that computes. I remember a bunch of really talented people being as averse as you are, saying, hey, yaar, ye nahi karna hai. But then once they get the hang of it, I'm talking about Jitu for that matter. Once he got the hang of it, now he's like 700,000 on Instagram or something. Once you get the hang of it, I'm sure it becomes a sort of feedback and flow and community mechanism.
Correct.
Let me ask you this. What are you listening to these days?
Me? I'll answer that. Can I take one very important call?
Yeah, we'll go into a break while you take a call, and we will come back right after this break.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another awesome week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Intel, for supporting us. First, right off the bat, want to congratulate Ashton Doctor on celebrating the 300th episode of The Habit Coach. It's a great show. If you haven't been listening to it, listen to it now. And if you listen to it, you can almost go for an entire year with an episode a day. It's really fun. Do definitely check that out. We had Siddharth Roy Kapoor on Gauri Devi Dayal's This Round's on Me. Great conversation over there. Arjun Koladi, the head of sales for Spotify in India, was on Advertising is Dead. Do check that out. Really fun show. Sonali Gupta has been on the network a number of times, was on Uncle Please Sit this week, and she had a great conversation with Joel Interchar. On Cyrus Says, we had Samit Basu, the author, fantasy author, one of my favorites. Definitely do check that out. It was Utsav Memorial Week this week on the IVM Network. He was on Cyrus Says Cock and Bull on Thursday. He was on Litnama, and of course his own podcast, Postcards from Nowhere. Do check that out. And one last note before we go, IVM Likes is back, and we've been doing a bunch of interesting conversations about different pop culture things that you might want to check out during the pandemic. Do give it a listen. I'm sure you'll enjoy that. And with that, let me get you back to your show.
Back on Storytellers and Storysellers with Jasleen Royal. We were talking about what Jasleen is listening today before she got a phone call. Jasleen, what are you listening to these days?
I really love this track called Bari by Bilal Saeed. And I also am listening to Maroon 5 and Begin Again. I keep listening to.
Oh, I love Begin
Again. That's one of my favorite soundtracks and one of my favorite films. So I think, that's pretty much what I'm listening to.
And any weird, quirky things that are part of your playlist right now?
I don't know about quirky and all, but I really like that track from The Sky is Pink, Memba.
Right.
For Aisha.
Right.
Yeah. That's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, that is a cool one. Tell me this. You've got a lot of indie cred. You've got movie stuff happening. What's up next, right? Are you looking at an album? Are you looking at more collabs? Are you looking at is there going to be a Jasleen Royal hip-hop album or a hip-hop collab? I'm really keen to know where you go next. Which direction?
So there's this really interesting collaboration already happened, sort of an international collaboration, which is going to be out end of this year. And obviously there are films I'm working on. The one is called Sher Shah, starring Siddharth Malhotra and Kiara Advani. So really excited about that track. and also my singles. Also, I'm doing a couple of cool things with Tarun.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
तो वो भी सब चल रहा है, मतलब it's a good time. I mean, as in not in the world, but
right.
Like career-wise.
Yeah. No, we're okay with that. We're okay with saying it's a good time. It doesn't always have to be coronavirus.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this before I kind of jump into my episode closer. How do you then look at, okay, wait, let me rephrase this. Quentin Tarantino is this director you might have heard of. I don't know, not a lot of people know him, but he always looks at the stuff he does from a third person's perspective, right? What is my filmography like? I'm an author. What does it look like? How do you look at maybe this phase of making music, right? Of this phase of growth as an artist. What should your discography look or sound like? What should people take away from Jasleen Royal's music? Is there something that you're like working towards, saying, hey, this is how it's supposed to be, or this is how I should sound or look, or is it still a lot like organic and play by ear like that, right?
Yeah, I think it's very organic and like play by ear, and what excites me, what collaborations excite me. Like I remember when I had just done Baar Baar Dekho. I had done Nasli Sare and Kho Gaye Hum Kahan. So a lot of people started calling me for wedding songs, and a couple of them I said yes to, but eventually I was like getting really bored of it. Like sometimes you just have to say yes because like people are not ready to take a no, and also I'm new in the industry, and so stuff like that was happening. you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course.
Like I'm not being forced, but it's just so much pressure. Like.
Right.
Like you're made to feel stupid if you say no to it.
Right.
So that was happening.
I call it projected FOMO. किसी और का FOMO मुझ पे
हाँ, projected FOMO is actually a better term. तो वो सब हो रहा था. And you only start getting flack. You were sounding repetitive. ऐसे like because I'm being asked to be repetitive. Like they don't want to. So basically, what happens is when you do a fresh song or something like that, people come to you like. What a fresh sound.
Oh.
It's amazing. Can you do this for us also? And when you do that for them, you sound repetitive.
It's not fresh anymore.
Yeah. And if you do something fresh and you say, अच्छा है, but मजा नहीं आया, वो वाले जैसा.
पहले वाला करता ना, पहले वाला जैसा.
I know. So you get stuck in this stupidity. But I realized that like, I think pretty soon, I hope so, my discography reflects of some wise decisions.
No, it already does. I mean, it already does. My question was discography 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now. I mean, I'm a bit of a writer at heart, so I always think about how artists or creative people, right? How they would look like to get perceived. Often what happens is you put a song out and then it's out of your hands. Right? That's true for everything. You put a movie out, you put a song out, whatever. And then it's in the audience's hands. The audience jo bol rahi hai, that is what it is, right? For example, we started this episode saying Jasleen Royal writes love songs. That's because I'm the audience. I saw Jasleen write a great love song, right? So that's where I was sort of coming at it from, right? Because I mean, as you also mature in the industry and as your set of fans also grows, it would be super interesting to see what new directions, what interesting new sounds you bring out. Yeah, super excited about all of that. My last question to you on this podcast, after which you can close a long day of interviews, I know it's been, is a few recommendations for our listeners. Some stuff that's close to your heart, that might be important to you. Could be a movie, a book, a song, some poem you've read. Could be anything.
Yeah. There are quite a few. Like I said, Begin Again is like one of my favorite films, and I love the soundtrack. And recently I'm listening to Bali, like I said, and can't think of anything else right now.
But those are good. I mean, I love Begin Again. Have you seen Once?
Yeah, I was in college and I used to play that song a lot. Falling Slowly. Yeah? That's from Once, right? But I've not seen the film. I'm gonna check it out.
Lovely film. Really lovely film. Like Begin Again is also lovely, but Once is the...
Yeah, I've heard. It's on my list.
Go for it. I think that would be a great way to unwind after a long day of interviews.
Yeah.
Jasleen. Jasleen, well, thank you so much for making time. Lovely as ever to talk to you.
Thank you.
I had a blast getting to know some of the wise things that go on inside that head of yours. Thank you so much, Jasleen, for making time. I hope you had fun too.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Actually, I'm not feeling drained at all. Sometimes it happens like after a long day of interviews, but I actually found it very refreshing, to be honest. Like I had a fun conversation.
I'm so glad you did. I mean, a very wise musician once told me that अगर गाने के बाद you are satisfied, तो फिर अच्छा है. That's it from me, Vineet and Jasleen Royal on this episode of Storytellers and Storysellers. Come back again next week for another fun conversation. This is Vineet and Jasleen saying goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Are you looking for India's most awesome cricket podcast? Are you now tired of listening to the same old guys drone on about cricket everywhere? Edges and Sledges is a weekly cricket podcast hosted by three fans of the game, Varun, DJ, and myself, Ashwin. It was established in early 2018, has over 60 episodes now, and is of course now proud to be on the IVM Podcast Network. Each week, we get together from 3 different time zones, the USA, the UK, and Singapore, and we talk about things from the world of cricket, with a focus on Indian cricket. We often interview special guests from all around the world, including former cricketers and cricket media personalities. So check out Edges and Sledges, the cricket podcast, now on the IVM Network.